So Manchester was where I was born, and it was a great place to live and to grow up in, and I especially kind of loved working in the field of art and design as a small boy, and was encouraged by my parents to do so, so I have really fond memories of it. I loved school, in particular art and design, and I studied O-levels and A-levels in art and kind of excelled, I think, in those fields. I always used to come home and do my homework really quickly and then spend hours doing my art and drawing all night long. As a small kid, I was inspired not necessarily by Manchester itself, although I was influenced by music and the different clubs in Manchester. The Hacienda, for example, was a big inspiration, I suppose. But really, I think my ideas started to form themselves later on in my teens, and when I started to think about moving away from Manchester. St Martin's for me wasn't the happiest time that I can recall. I spent 4 years there, and I think most fashion students that go there want to be famous, and they're aware that there's the small remote chance that you could have a career and a sort of a career in the spotlight. I certainly had ambitions of that, but at that time I think I was very young, and now with hindsight would have perhaps gone when I was slightly older. So it was incredibly competitive, as it is in the real world of fashion, but I just felt a little bit too young to really have my vision very clear in my mind. So it was a difficult period. So when I was in my third year at St Martin's, I went to work for Zandra Rhodes, and I chose to work for her because I felt there was a synthesis between both of our works, and I spent 3 months working in her print studio and a few weeks working in the pattern room with all the pattern cutters, and I used to watch all these incredibly talented people cut these garments. Most of them were lace, and at the end of the day, in the evening, when all the lace had fallen on the floor, I found myself sweeping up all the remnants, and I collected all the lace into a bag, and then weeks later started to sew all the scraps of lace together to make my own sort of patchwork fabric. And that fabric then became one of the garments that I showed in my graduate collection, because I had no money to buy fabric, so it was a perfect solution. Like, my work ethic has come from my parents, the sense that they've always worked incredibly hard, and I sort of have the same mindset. And when I'm creating clothes, I think there's an innate sense that I like to find things rather than be, totally extravagant. I do like to feel that the fabric that I use has got some kind of integrity, and it's quite special and tells a story. When I do my best work, it's the work that's come from my heart, and there's sort of like, a real passion behind the idea. It's got to feel quite heartfelt. If it does, then the work often comes quite easily to me, and I think it's those garments that you can look back over the years. The best garments, in my opinion, are those that have happened quite effortlessly.